Greetings, Faz fans, it's me, Xantorm, and I warmly welcome you back to another exciting video. Last week, during my work on the Jeremy video, an exciting development occurred. Steelwool unveiled a new trailer for the highly anticipated Ruin DLC of Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach, scheduled for a release in July this year. Upon watching the trailer and analyzing its contents, I was inspired to formulate a number of theories regarding the new characters. Without further ado, let us embark on this thrilling journey. Before delving into my theories, let's take a moment to hear from our esteemed guest, ID's Fantasy, and her perspective on the Ruin DLC thus far.
Ruin looks to be taking Security Breach and responding to the criticisms that have been made about it. Not only is it looking to have a higher scare factor, but it also looks to be giving the story added depth that wasn't present in the base game. Sure, there is a pretty intense story in Security Breach if you know where to look, but it's somewhat difficult to extract. However, with new additions like the Glitch Rabbit, the use of the Help Wanted Vanny mask, and a new protagonist who seems to have had a past history with Gregory that, in spite of her name being Cassie, I think may tie back to the post-it room seeming to have 2 occupants in it, which I go over in my own video on the subject, Ruin is shaping up to have some very interesting story in store, and I am very excited to see it.
Let us commence by delving into the intriguing character of Cassie, our new playable protagonist. Upon careful examination of the particular scene, it becomes apparent that she is seen leaping within the confines of the Pizzaplex. Based on this observation, I propose a theory that Cassie may indeed be Gregory's sister, given their shared brown hair and evident familiarity with each other. Further reinforcing this notion, we are treated to Cassie's voice for the first time in the trailer, urgently urging Gregory to run for his safety. Another notable addition to the roster of characters is enigmatic rabbit-like entity unveiled towards the conclusion of the trailer. Upon enhancing the brightness of the footage, a striking revelation emerges: a blue animatronic rabbit adorned with facial markings reminiscent of a circuit board. There has been speculation among fans that this entity could potentially be Glamrock Bonnie. However, it is important to note that this particular animatronic cannot be attributed to Glamrock Bonnie, as there are compelling indications that its physical components are repurposed in the creation of Burn Trap, an experiment that ultimately met with a failure. I have developed a compelling theory regarding the nature of this entity, suggesting that this is a distinct animatronic entity with a notable connection to Glitch Trap. Plausibly, Glitch Trap may have directed Vanny to push the boundaries further and fabricate a more resilient animatronic, one that could serve as a robust vessel for Glitch Trap's presence and manipulation. I have observed that the upcoming DLC will introduce new locations within the Pizzaplex that were optional in the Security Breach. Notable examples include Chica's Bakery and Roxy's Beauty Salon. Furthermore, it is highly probable that we will encounter a segment in Kids Cove. Considering it was an optional area in the main game, it is widely speculated that Kids Cove is interconnected with the daycare, another area we will explore in the DLC. Thus, it is plausible to assume that traversing through Kids Cove will serve as a pathway to access the daycare. There has been speculation among fans regarding the possibility that the Ruin DLC might be a trap, with Gregory once again falling under the influence of Glitch Trap, all in an attempt to ensnare Cassie. However, I hold a differing perspective on this matter. Firstly, it is important to note that Gregory's genuine terror can be discerned from his voice, which bears similarities to moments of fear experienced in Security Breach. The main distinction lies in the circumstances. In the main game, Gregory felt safer due to the presence of ample lighting and the protection provided by Glamrock Freddy. However, in the dark and ruined setting of the Pizzaplex, Gregory's fear is justified, as he lacks the same level of protection. In the Ruin DLC poster, a specific screen captures Gregory's expression of worry. Notably, behind him, stars adorn the wall, a feature reminiscent of Rockstar Row, the initial attraction in which we embarked on our journey as Gregory in Security Breach. I propose that our mission as Cassie is to navigate through various challenges and ultimately reach Rockstar Row, which Gregory acting as our guide through the use of a walkie-talkie. Rather than starting the DLC in Rockstar Row, it seems likely that the journey will culminate in that very location. Now let us get into the final topic of this video, the chronology of the Ruin DLC. Is it a sequel or a prequel? Brace yourselves for an engaging debate between myself and Seriously Unserious, as I firmly assert that the Ruin DLC serves as a sequel, while Seriously Unserious posits that it functions as a prequel. Taking my stance in this debate, I firmly believe that the Ruin DLC DLC should be considered a sequel. One key factor supporting this viewpoint is the logical progression of events from the bird trap ending, where the fire caused significant damage to the Pizzaplex. Roxy remains without her eyes, Monty is still lacking legs, and Chica's beak is still missing. Comparatively, the daycare attendant appears to have suffered the least damage. Furthermore, Gregory is depicted with his Fazwatch, the same one Glamrock Freddy gave him in Security Breach. Now let us turn our attention to Seriously Unserious's perspective, who posits that the Ruin DLC should be regarded as a prequel.
Thank you for having me on, Xantor. What if Ruin was a prequel and not the sequel that many have assumed it to be? So, Faz fans, time to grab your hard hats. I've got some very interesting discoveries to share with you as we dig down into the underbelly of the Pizzaplex. The Pizzaplex has already been ruined and repaired, at least partially, in the past. At some unknown time between when the Pizzaplex was first opened and when Security Breach takes place, the Pizzaplex experienced an emergency bad enough to require the evacuation of the entire building, and for it to remain closed to the public for an undetermined amount of time before being fixed and reopened. When in Roxy Raceway, we get this voice line from Freddy.
The raceway was closed very abruptly prior to the new construction. Guests tend to leave things behind during emergency situations.
So he's literally telling us that there was an emergency that required an evacuation. But that's not all. We also get this message that many have interpreted as talking about the MCI, which took place in 1985. Now, from our point of view as a player, the MCI was revealed when FNAF 1 was released in 2014 and has been rehashed countless times since then in countless theories and new Let's Plays of the early FNAF games. To us all, it's recent to us, the players. However, to the people in the FNAF universe, this happened in 1985, and in universe it's probably around 2035 when Security Breach takes place, an entire 50 years later. How many people are really going to remember events that happened 50 years ago? In reality, not very many, and it's certainly a far cry from the everyone that the note talks about. Now, as compelling as these first two clues are on their own, we have more and even bigger evidence, that of our own two eyes. Explore the basement and you'll hear Freddy talk about how you can get from anywhere to anywhere, and even lists off specifically Monty Golf as a location that you're supposed to be able to reach from the utility tunnels. Yet, whenever you try to go there, you'll be met with barrier after barrier, even hallways that would be needed to reach Monty Golf's underbelly that just don't exist. Yet, looking at the early development maps, we can see a layout of utility tunnels that does include hallways going to all points in the Pizzaplex. Explore the basement now as much as you can reach of it at any rate, and you'll find hallways that lead nowhere, or to weird dead-end rooms, which match exactly to areas where hallways in the unreleased maps once went through to the eastern side, once connected to locations like Monty Golf. In other places, you'll find walls contain oddities like these, which, and each of those, you can clearly see differences in the texture of the walls or seams or indentations, which clearly shows that there was once a passageway leading through there, which was then later on covered up with a wall. And these coincide with the cross hallways connecting to these out of bounds locations that would have had the more extensive early map hallways had that been kept. What happens when you go further down to the floors below the utility tunnels, to where the missing underground parking lot should be? We see a place that many have mistakenly called the sewers, because a small portion of it when we first enter the area legitimately is a sewer. But past that one small space, we enter a big open rooms with piles of rubble, car parts, and construction materials. A closed-in area that's a tunnel through the more broken building materials and car parts. And then when we proceed up a level, we spiral up a part of a sloped helix. Then we enter this area with clear parking stalls painted on the floor and walls that look like temporary walls that actually cut off some of the parking stalls. And this definitely looks like a parking garage. It is a parking garage, in fact, but only a small fraction of it. The one small part of it that is more intact than the rest of it. And this is when I had my aha moment. We've not been in sewers at all, but in the caved-in ruin of the underground parking lot all along. A large multi-level underground parking lot that encompasses at least the first 1/3 of the Pizzaplex and likely goes out a little ways past the front of it. Now, if we continue past, this area labeled a garage, we come to a major distraction. The lore mine that is the post-it room. If you put aside the shiny objects of all the broken staff bots, brightly colored pieces of paper screaming "look at me," and the staffed-in table, to the actual construction of the place, you soon realize it's all a facade. Underneath, you have a normal stairwell that connects to just outside the staff locker room on level B1. This post-it room was actually a staff-only stairwell, giving employee access to and from the locker room and the underground parking when going on and off shift. More evidence that these sewers, quote-unquote, were really the missing underground parking. Now, what could have done this damage is a matter for another theory on its own. For the purposes of ruin, what all this means is the Pizzaplex has already been ruined. The time of that ruin can very well be when the Ruin DLC takes place.
I would like to thank you all for the tremendous support you have shown on my channel. I extend my heartfelt appreciation to ID's Fantasy for the invaluable contribution of sharing her insightful thoughts on the DLC in this video. Additionally, I would like to extend my thanks to Seriously Unserious for sharing your intriguing theories about Ruin possibly being a prequel to Security Breach. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell, and give this video a thumbs up. Let's keep the party going, and remember to stay safe and stay fastastic.